Welcome to the Registered Investment Advisor Podcast, where financial services marketing expert Seth Green interviews experts, executives, and top producers to share can't-miss tips on how they successfully manage their financial service firms, grow their businesses, create great relationships, and influence the industry. And now, here's your host, Seth Green.
Welcome to the RIA podcast. This is your host, Seth Green. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by Nick Hopwood, president and founder of Peak Wealth Management. Nick, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for the invite, Seth. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get in the business in the first place?
My story goes back to 1999 as an intern at what was American Express Financial Advisors, now Ameriprise. My sophomore year, making copies, sending faxes, filling out paperwork, summer of 99. And that was the beginning. And then graduated, got licensed, joined an independent firm at LPL in Northville, Michigan. And then in 2014 is when I broke away and set up my own RIA.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure the longer version of that story could probably be in a book somewhere if it isn't already or told on your podcast. I started 99 at the exact same time. Mine was an internship at Merrill Lynch.
Cool. Yeah.
So what inspired you to leave and start Peak Wealth Management?
Well, that is a really excellent story. I'm just going to skim the surface though and say that it was not the best fit with the partnership. Okay. So it was something that was on my mind for quite a long time. Okay. So when you're leaving LPL, you have to make sure that all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. You might not be aware that if you want to stay at LPL, like as a way to get away from your branch manager, and you want to stay at LPL, they have to sign off on that, allowing you to leave. So this is something that was started for at least 4 years, because my plan was to break away, stay at LPL, and then eventually leave LPL altogether, so that's where we are now naturally. So it was like a two-step process. 2014, breaking away, starting my own RIA at LPL, and then leaving LPL in 15.
Got it. And yep, I left a Fortune 500 financial services company to start my own as well. So what did you, when you had the original vision for Peak, what did you want to do differently that you said, man, I need to open my own, not just because of the partnership that didn't work out of the manager, but what did you say, this is what I can do different, this is what I can do better, this is how I'm going to do it when it's my shop?
Right. So it was, there's partly selfish and then partly platform. So selfish part was to cut out the LPL garbage fees. And then secondly was to have a platform that truly was, the platform was independent, but not perfect. And I was searching for that perfect platform. And that's where we landed in the arms of Ameritrade. So the technology is better. The platform is better, in my opinion. Okay. So you have all of the benefits with none of the costs. Back then, LPL didn't even have free ETFs. You know what I mean? So just as a simple example, that's what we desperately wanted. We wanted to avoid these garbage IRA fees, right? The custodial fees, come on. So, right, back then, those were some really important talking points. So we wanted that platform and we wanted lower costs for everyone.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, you've obviously innovated along the way. Talk a little bit about the origin of your blueprinting process and then what that is and how it's been received by clients.
Sure. So I'm part of the Ron Carson coaching program. And so I just copied him, right? No secrets, they put it out there. And so when you have a coach, right, the idea is that you want to take all the good things that they're doing and try and replicate them, if they make sense for you. And so that's one of those things where I engage in that process myself. And I realized along the way that some clients could benefit from that as well. And the thing is, most people don't do that stuff. Most people, they don't set goals, let alone write them down. And so if you go through this process just once, right, you're part of this elite 10% of people who's thinking about the future and what the vision looks like. And if you're thinking about it and writing it down personally, professionally, I think that you're going to be better off if you do.
Absolutely. And how have your clients received that process?
Well, I think that they receive it well, but I don't ask them to like bring the workbook back to me or, turn in any homework. So I suspect that, less than 10% of them are actually doing the work. But I like talking about it. So I'm going to keep doing it. And I think that if only 10% do it, then they're going to really benefit from it. I have another thing I got to share about Ron. All right.
Sure. Because Ron has been on the show.
Yeah. So Ron's great. Right. And there's a reason why we've been in the coaching program since 2003. Okay.
So before you even went independent, you were part of it.
Yeah, exactly right. So the coaching program used to be called Peak Productions.
Yep.
Right. And so our firm is Peak Wealth Management. And you might be able to connect the dots there, right?
Absolutely. I love it. Well, I'm sure Ron appreciates that. What inspired you to start your podcast?
It's pretty simple, actually. So I have a networking group who are in town here. We meet once a week. And one of the members is like a professional voice actor, so to speak, right? Like an entertainer kind of guy. And he's like, you should do like an explainer podcast and do these things for new clients, for prospects. And I thought, I don't know, maybe we'll see, right? And then he approached me again because he wanted to sell me some equipment and he wanted to be the intro voice, right? He was kind of recommending that we do it selfishly, but what a great recommendation, because we're not breaking any records or anything, but I find clients will oftentimes reference, oh yeah, like that one podcast episode, or a prospect comes in and they've already listened to several recordings or watched several recordings. And so they feel like they know us and they like us and they trust us before we even meet face to face. So I think that for those two reasons, it's been a great experience.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. Talk a little bit about the team that you've built at Peak.
Sure. So we have a team of 6. We have 3 CFPs, myself, Jim, and Preston, and 3 on the operations team headed by Patty, Gwen, and Connie. And so what's interesting with our team of 6 is that 5 of us have been in the business for over 10 years. On the operations side, all 3 of them have 15 years each. And Preston's our college grad, so he's only got a couple of years, but I feel like we have a really strong team with a ton of experience.
Awesome. And then who is an ideal client for Peak? Who's your target?
Well, I would say somebody who's thinking about retirement in the next several years, kind of in that retirement red zone, maybe let's say 5 years before, and they have a good head on their shoulders. So they've been saving and investing over the years, paying down debt, getting ready, but they just want to make sure they're really in good shape. So we're going to walk them through their comprehensive financial plan and make sure that they have 100% probability of success, right? We use eMoney as our financial planning software. So, right, we build what if scenarios. What if there's a bear market? What if there's long-term care? What if inflation continues, right? So they have a real good understanding of where they stand. And then we also approach retirement income different than most. We have a nice tool that we use, Income Conductor, where we illustrate the bucket approach. And that's really getting a lot of traction now with short-term rates coming up. If you have a year or two in bucket 1 earning 0, that's a lot different than bucket 1 earning 3 or 4%, like we can see now. So someone who's thinking about retirement and they've been unhappy with their advisor or do-it-yourselfer, they want a second opinion on the retirement plan itself, retirement cash flow, and they need help with the investing. Now it's a lot more money and it's a lot more serious, and there's no do-overs in retirement.
Absolutely. How are clients finding you?
I think most people are seeking us out through referral or through Google. So traditionally, referrals were the number one source, right? Like we track all of our marketing statistics, and referrals or existing clients adding additional funds was pretty much all of it. Okay. But over time, we've really gained a lot of traction on an organic Google search. So it's certainly a less probability of success when you're talking to someone that's a cold lead versus a referral. But I think a lot of offices, a lot of firms, right, they're surprised to hear when I tell them that we're getting a lot of organic Google leads, maybe because they haven't put much effort into the website. But we certainly have, and it does pay off. And we have another niche as well, which has been just wonderful through Michigan football blogs, mgoblog.com, mvictors.com. The Michigan alumni, the Michigan fan base is very loyal, and they're very affluent. They're very educated, right? They know that they need help at times. And so that's been really good for us to get in front of people as well.
Well, congratulations on that. You've achieved a lot of success, not only for the firm as you've grown it to hundreds of millions of dollars in AUM, but also for your clients. What's your biggest challenge now?
Well, I think when you hit a certain level, the biggest challenge is not necessarily how to invest or, how to plan for people. It's how to run the business. And so what I really love to do is be a practitioner, to be a, CFP and walk you through that financial plan. And the hardest thing, right, is being the CEO, right, and managing the firm and managing people. We have great people, but it doesn't mean that, everything's perfect, right? So that's the kind of stuff that I'm not interested in as much, right? I want to be a planner. I don't really want to be the CEO.
I'm sure a lot of our listeners and viewers in the industry can relate to that. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
Right back to that planning, right? I want to make sure that we're on track, that we're making good decisions so we can retire with confidence. And, how can we optimize? How can we get there a little quicker or with even better stability? So I really love that. And investing is a close second, right? The investments are very important. They drive that financial plan. But if I had to spend my time pick where I spend all my time, it would be, with that planning mindset.
You also have a niche in terms of, I believe, teachers and university and hospital employees. Can you talk a little bit about how that came about?
Sure. So we're in Plymouth, Michigan, which is not far from Ann Arbor, not far from East Lansing, among other schools in Michigan, where generally they'll have the 401, 403, 457 set up with Fidelity and or TIAA. And Fidelity and TIAA have programs which a lot of RIAs may not be aware of, where you can be on the platform and be assigned to a Fidelity or TIAA account. And you can, charge AUM fees on that portfolio, just like as if it was at Schwab, Ameritrade, or Fidelity Institutional. So it's been great because you got these doctors and nurses and university professors, and they have access to the 401, 403, 457, which is like the ability to do 20 into the 403 and the 457. There's the Roth 457. Then there's the huge university match. And so you want to check with the universities and check with the custodians and find out how to get on board that platform.
Awesome. For our folks watching and listening who want to learn more, where is the best place for them to go to check out Peak, and where is the best place for them to go learn about the podcast?
Sure. So, it's peakwm.com, as in Peak Wealth Management. We post all of our podcasts on the blog, so that's easy to find. Otherwise, any podcast app or YouTube, we have a channel as well. Type in Peak Wealth Management.
Awesome. And anything else you want to share that I didn't think to ask you yet?
Well, having your own RIA, you got to spice it up a little bit. All right. So the dog comes to work every day, right? Everyone loves the dog. Obviously I do. All the members of the team, clients love having him here when they come in. So bring your dog to work. Why not?
Awesome advice. Greatly. I haven't yet brought my dog to work. Greatly appreciate your time. This has been Seth Green with Nick Hopwood of peakwm.com. Nick, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Seth.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.